Matt, congratulations on the series. What a great night to come and celebrate. How does it feel seeing part of the AIDS quilt and just thinking back on the series and all that you accomplished with it?
That's the first time I've seen it actually since we shot that last scene of the show, and I didn't know we had it on set that day. And I done, it was a very emotional scene, so I done all this preparation, thinking I was going to come to some set piece, and then it was the real thing, and it just totally took over the scene. All I had to do was get out of my own way on that one, and so it's kind of emotional to see it for the first time since then. It has, you can't help but, it can't help but affect you, I think, to be in its presence.
What was it like to be part of this show that's so emotional but also so political and spanning decades? And how does it still relate to what people are going through today? Because there are still people that aren't comfortable coming out of the closet today. So,
Well, sadly, there are a lot of ways it's relevant today, but I think all the things you're mentioning, the fact that it is a period piece that covers so many different decades, it has these complicated, complex, well-drawn characters. Those are all the things that drew me to the project in the first place when I read the source material and was fortunate enough to come on and produce with Robbie and Ron really early on in the process. So I love it. I'm just so grateful that I got to be a part of this story. Look, the most amazing thing you can hope for as an actor is for people on the street to come up and want to engage with you about the work or the show, not even your work. And this isn't the kind of show where people want to just go, oh, I like that or whatever. They want to have in-depth conversations with you. My uncle was a Hawk. My cousin was a Tim. My friend was a Marcus. Like they see their own humanity in it or the humanity of people they've known and loved in it. And to me, as an actor, that's all you can really hope for in the work you do.
and it's changed from the types of shows you can move. I mean, this show has a lot of sex, and I think that shows an escape that people needed at that time. In some ways, that's what it was. It was like the moment they could be themselves for 1 second of the day. What was your response to going through that and having that be such a huge part of the series?
I mean, obviously, it's scary, when you first read it. But then once I realized that it was really an extension of who these characters were, and the way they came together was really reflective of not only how their history and what they'd gone through, but their response to an oppressive society. And in their connection together, they were almost able to find like this therapeutic moment of connection where they could just let it all out together. So, I think those are. Anytime you have a love scene where it furthers the story and it adds to the richness of the characters, and the characters aren't the same after than they were when they started the scene, I think then it's always a good reason to have a scene like that. So, thankfully, I'm just glad I had a great scene partner who was we made a pact together. We would always respect each other's boundaries and have each other's back throughout the shoot, and Johnny was just an incredible scene partner all around in all the scenes. So.
And what could you take away from Hawk, or what did you bring into Hawk? Like, what sort of parallels or things can you either learn from him, or did you bring into him in the role?
I mean, I think that's kind of personal, because I feel like if you're really trying to do the work, there's something you can learn from all your characters, and that's what you get to keep. That's kind of what's for you. I just know that for me, I just saw him as a real badass, and it's so rare to read a gay character who is like kind of a cowboy. He's raging against the machine in his own way, and he's operating by his own system of ethics and morals, and it's what he has to do to survive. So I don't know. He inspired me a lot in that regard. Yeah.
And finally, Critics' Choice Award nomination, Golden Globe Award nomination, SAG Award nomination, Peabody Award. I mean, this has gotten some great critical reception. What does that mean for you as an actor, and what does it mean as a producer, an executive producer?
I mean, how can I be? I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. I don't know what else to say other than I've experienced the alternative, and I'm just so thankful that we were able to get this story made. The fact that it's had the response it has is really icing on the cake. I think with this job, I did 96 out of 100 days. It was like 80-hour weeks. At the end of it, I felt like I'd done everything I could to just leave it all on the table. So I hope that it would resonate with people, but I was like, I'm not going to read any of that stuff. I'm just going to let my experience be what my experience was and hope that people find the story. And I'm just so grateful that we had a great network and studio behind us who really got behind us and helped us get the word out there. So.
Well, such a powerful story. We're looking forward to the Emmys, and I think we'll hear some names called. So congratulations, and
Thanks so much.
have fun tonight.
See y'all. Take care. You too. See you.
Congratulations on the series. I'm curious to hear from your perspective. What has it been like to be sort of the strong female voice of this series that's sort of a little bit male-dominated?
It is. An honor, a privilege. I think Lucy was very accustomed to being the only woman in rooms, and I think that felt like a really important role to portray, because I think for women in that time, you were just expected to kind of be quiet and look pretty and be respectful. And I like that the show gave us an opportunity to kind of be in her mind and wonder what she was thinking in so many of those moments. But yeah, I mean, I think there were a lot of stories we weren't able to tell within the framework of this show. We told the ones that we could as honestly and thoroughly as we could, but I think this show kind of begs the question, what were the stories that we didn't get to see, and what are the next stories that we need to hear after you watch the series, like Fellow Travelers. There are many parts of this movement not represented in our show that deserve their own limited series, for sure.
And seeing that side of her, because this is a love story, but she's sort of left on the outside. She talks about, imagine living your life never being desired. So how did you kind of tap into that and find where you could go as an actress to put that on the screen?
I mean, who among us hasn't been in a relationship where it was lopsided, where you had more desire for the other person than they had for you? Obviously, I have been in that position, and so it's not like a totally unfamiliar sensation for me. But I think the other thing is just at that point, after having played her for so long, I could feel the pain of wanting his affection and attention so badly, and having it in one way, having his time, having his children, having his cohabitation, having a lot of the things that go into a partnership, but not the thing that she realized finally was the thing she really needed to stay in it. It is a love story. She and Hawk are very much in love and very connected as a couple. It's just not the kind of love story that he was having, and I think that's the tragedy of it, is when she's at the hospital visiting Tim and she sees Hawk's DOP kit and realizes he's been sleeping in this little cot. I think she thinks he wouldn't do that for me. I think he'd go home and sleep at home and come visit me during the day. To sleep in this AIDS wing of this hospital and to keep his toiletries here, she's like, well, I'm never going to compete with that. So off I go.
And I remember you from Girls. No one will ever let you forget Get Out. And then this is a completely different thing. So it's fascinating to me, the roles you've gotten to play, chosen to play. What goes into choosing such a variety of characters, and what do you look for when you're choosing a role to play?
Such a good question. I feel really lucky. So first and foremost, someone at some point has to be like, yeah, okay, she'll do. So I feel lucky anytime someone says that. After Get Out, I started to kind of have fun with the fact that I kind of lost everyone's trust at the same time. As Marnie and Girls, people were like, she's annoying, but I don't think she's going to kill people. And after Get Out, they were like, I think she's going to kill people, and maybe me. And so from there, when I go into a role, I kind of expect the audience not to know whether or not they can trust me from the beginning. And that kind of fit into this in a way where everyone's hiding a lot. And Lucy's maybe not hiding a lot in a conscious way from the beginning, but there's layers to knowing things, And so I loved playing with the amount that she was aware or knew when she knew it throughout the series. But I always ask myself, I've said this many times, but I ask myself 3 questions. Why this? Why now? Why me? And for this show, it was a bullseye for all 3. It was just like, this is a story that needs to be told right now, very urgently, when we're taking massive steps backwards just for recognizing simple love relationships and their validity in our country. And why me is because who but me to play Lucy Fuller? The minute I read her on the page, I was like, well, I must play this person. I feel like she's coursing through my veins already. Let's bring her to life.
And how much fun is the cast? I mean, we've seen you on the carpet together. Everyone looks like they get along.
I'm so in love with this cast. Every time we have an excuse like this to get back together, it's so exciting. We had so much fun together, and that's unusual when you're dealing with subject matter like this, I think. The subject matter obviously at times is super serious, heavy, dark, and yet we all managed to have a lot of fun together and like really create happy memories as a cast.
We'll have more fun tonight. Congratulations, and we'll see you inside.
Thank you. Bye, Gold Derby.
Jelani, congratulations. We're at this special screening for fellow travelers. What's it feel like to be here? You just were over at the AIDS Quilt. What's it all feel like?
You know, there's a lot of feelings. Today's the first day of Pride. This show is something I'm extremely proud of. Maybe the thing I've been most proud of my entire life. And then taking in actual, physical, tangible evidence of the pain that our community has gone through. I'm incredibly proud to be a vessel of joy. That I get to bask in the glory of what they fought for. I am my ancestors' wildest dreams come true. And I'm just really grateful.
What was it like for you? Just Marcus was going along with the times as all these other characters were, but it was a different story being black in that time. And I thought it was really powerful the way they had episodes dedicated to those stories as well. Talk about noticing some of those differences and the research that maybe went into that, or in filming, what that was like to step back in time and go through that.
Ooh, there are days where it was incredibly rough to accept that the truth and just the matter-of-factness of American law and civilization prevented you from being who you wanted to be, from being able to love what you wanted to love, from being able to sit at a bar with your friend who happened to be a different race than you. That was not possible by law. I think for me that really messes me up a little bit, and it really was something that I really had to wrap my mind around for this project, being like, it's not that I can't just because Marcus is afraid. He literally cannot because the world is saying no. The world is shutting him down. And then to find a way to break through that and come through the wall and at the end of the piece be extremely proud of who he is and fighting and standing up for something that's right. To go through that journey was incredible, and it was a great catharsis for me. Now, standing here in 2024, I understand everything that people before me have gone through, and I'm incredibly grateful for their sacrifice.
But through this story, you've also let other people know what their history. There's so many things in this show that I had never heard of before.
We are so quick to pass judgment on the people that came before us, but we don't understand that everyone is a byproduct of the environment they're in, and the world was just not ready for them. They were ahead of their time, and now we get to be in the time, and we cannot take a back seat. We have to continue to move forward and continue to push the energy forward.
Well, congratulations on the series, and have fun tonight. We'll see you inside.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
No, Ricketts. We go back many years. I know how many Broadway shows you've done.
Yeah.
So what was it like now to come to the other coast, settle into this series, and get such a kick-ass role? I know that had to be an incredible moment for you.
Yeah, I mean, it was a dream come true. It's like my shot out of the cannon, but I'm alongside so many wonderful stars. And, the thing that really moved me when I was reading the script was like how nuanced these queer characters were. And I feel like, I've been looking for parts that are deep and rooted. And I think as a gay community, we've been starved of quality content like this. So I'm just honored to be a part of it.
And your role specifically, I mean, we saw a lot of makeup on characters aging, but you got glammed up. So what was that like to get full-on glam and do those shows? And wait, were you singing? Is that your voice, or did they? Okay.
Yeah, that's my voice. I'm up there singing, helping with those arrangements as well. And it was really special because I've been a long-time fan of drag. I mean, I used to leave my Broadway show to go see the drag show that started at 11:30 p.m. I'd sit there all night. So I really wanted to kind of honor the drag existence. And, back then it was different. It was called female impersonation, and they were trying their best to do that. So there are little nods to Ella in there, some great women of the time that we try to roll in, little Easter eggs. Mm-hmm.
Talk about being part of the series that is about the gay movement over all of these decades, but for you specifically, it's a drag movement. It's being black in America at that time, there's a lot of things that Frankie has to go through that not all of these other characters have to go through.
Yeah.
And he gets frustrated a lot of times throughout that process. So how do you tap into that, and how much history did you learn on this series?
I learned so much. I think a lot of people think Stonewall was the beginning of gay history, but as we learn from the series, it really precedes that. And I love the character Frankie because he represents what actually happened with change. Change for pride and change to get to these pride movements came from the black and brown trans women, drag queens, lesbians that were in the street, fighting for their lives. And so, that frustration is there, but I think on the other side of that is what we know today, that we can be proud and celebrate in the streets and dance and have fun every June.
And you got back to Broadway and Gatsby, so how fun was that? And talk about it.
Super fun. I'm playing a little queer-coded character, Nick Carraway, in The Great Gatsby on Broadway right now, and it's super fun. It's a whole different character from Frankie. I'm very tight-laced and buttoned up with my suit and tie, even as I have it on here. But, it's another opportunity to, share another wonderful story, that we know so well and bring it to the Broadway stage. It's been great.
And the last time we talked to you, you were going into the Golden Globes, chasing Fantasia. Did you catch her yet?
I caught Fantasia at BAFTA Tea, and I was hunting her down all weekend because I was I have to see her. I saw her do The Color Purple on Broadway, and I was forever changed. So I just needed to touch her, and I did. And I just did one of these, and I backed up quietly. I'm sure she thinks I'm crazy, but it was worth it.
Okay. Final question: dream collaboration on stage or screen. Who's an actor or performer you would love to perform with?
I have performed with him, but I actually want to do something musical with Jonathan Bailey because, he can sing. He started on the West End, and I did a lot of Broadway. I think our talents together in something musical could be a lot of fun and really interesting.
Yeah. We'll look forward to that. All right. Thanks, Noah.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Hey, Denton. How are you?
Nice to see you. How exciting is this to be at this special screening of Fellow Travelers tonight with that piece of the AIDS quilt right there? What a celebration.
Yeah, Denton, actually it's really, really exciting. It's also kind of sad. Every time we all see each other, we realize how much we miss each other. It was a great, loving experience making the show, and we miss each other very much.
30 years ago, nomination for Philadelphia at the Oscars. What is it like 3 decades later, continuing to tell these stories, and how important is this now more than ever, and how does it still resonate?
Some things change, there is progress, and some things stay the same. And we certainly have changed in some ways, and yet there's always a backlash to change. So I think it feels very natural and right that 30 years later I'm coming back to address an important part of queer history. We didn't even use the word queer back 30 years ago when we were making Philadelphia. So those kinds of things have changed. But Fellow Travelers tries to say that people have the right to love no matter who they love, and that was the same message of Philadelphia. So that message doesn't change.
And what has it been like just having the critical reception to this series so far? Golden Globes, Critics' Choice Awards, hopefully Emmys come up next. I mean, what would that mean for you?
Well, it certainly is great. It's really terrific that people sort of get what you've done. I spent 12 years trying to get this show made. But Denton, what really moves me is when I meet somebody, as I did today, who said to me that I have, in my whole life, he was a upper middle-aged black man who said, I've waited my whole life to see what I saw in Fellow Travelers, how queer black love was represented. And that actually means, I won't say more than an Emmy, but certainly as much.
Well, congratulations, and have fun tonight.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Dan, congratulations on the series. We're at Fellow Travelers on this beautiful night in Beverly Hills. What does it feel like to be out here with your whole cast and crew?
It's my favorite cast that I've worked with. They're really lovely. And it's like a family reunion every time we get together.
What was it like for you directing the first 2 episodes? So you wear multiple hats on this series. Why the first 2? And what is it like to hand the baton off then after you've had that control?
I had the lucky job of setting up the show with Ron, going up to Canada where we filmed everything finding all the creative people and casting and our locations, and it was important to me to set the look of the show. It was something I really had a specific idea about, and Ron and I talked about it a lot. And so I wanted to do the first two, set the show, and then I had to go on to another project. But I was going on to shoot a film. But it was left in very capable hands with Destiny Ekaraga. We had so many great directors on this, so the material was wonderful. So working with other directors is something I really enjoy, because as a director, I don't really get to meet a lot of directors, unless we cross paths. This was really great because we had written a sort of manifesto for the piece of how we wanted the tone of things to play, how we wanted things to look, the kind of lighting, the kind of camera movement we were doing, and each person kind of brought their own special, style to it and their own personal touch. So it was very rewarding to see how it evolved.
And just the cast. I mean, what an incredible cast. You said it's your favorite cast you've worked with. Aside from like Matt and Jonathan, who are so great, talk about also Jelani, Noah, these young stars coming along and really just knocking it out of the park with their performances as well.
Yeah, we had it was so fortuitous. We had such a great first meeting with Jelani and Noah, because we knew we liked both of them, but then we put them together and they had incredible chemistry. And it was revealed later that they had actually known each other before, not romantically, but they had known each other before, through Broadway and different performances, and they'd actually maybe even dated some of the same people, not to tell tales out of school, but they were remarkable. And one of my favorite moments was in the first episode working with Jelani, and he came in and he was transformed into a 60-year-old man. And he walked with this kind of like a little bit of a creaky kind of, old man kind of walk. And I said, "Why are you walking like that?" And he said, "I'm walking like you." And we really hit it off. We remained very close, and he's a very special person, very special actor. I love our bad guys. We were so lucky to get Chris Bauer to play Joseph McCarthy. He gave it so much humanity and was despicable. And our Roy Cohen, Will Brill, was fantastic. Incredible Broadway actor, and we were so lucky to get him.
Incredible series, and congratulations on the night and the show. We're wishing you all the luck at this year's Emmys. What has it been like to have such critical acclaim, Critics' Choice, Golden Globe nominations? Why not Emmys next? Come on.
It would make us really happy to be acknowledged by the Emmys, but it's been overwhelming. The critical response to it has been great, and just the personal response. We've had so many people reach out in very meaningful ways, like writers, artists, people, not just noteworthy people, but a lot of people were very personally moved by it. And so that was very rewarding, very unique.